That Quimby fella promised to build us a Matlock Expressway. How you gonna top that, smart guy?
Well, how's this? I'll not only build the expressway, I will spend the remainder of this afternoon patiently listening to your interminable anecdotes.
Hot diggity damn! Beavers! Not many people know I own the first radio in Springfield. Weren't much on the air then, just Edison reciting the alphabet over and over. A, he'd say. Then B. C would usually follow. We can't bust heads like we used to, but we have our ways.
You got it.
One trick is to tell them stories that don't go anywhere. Like the time I caught the ferry over to Shelbyville. I needed a new heel for my shoe. So I decided to go to Morganville, which is what they called Shelbyville in those days. So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time. Now, to take the ferry cost a nickel, and in those days, nickels had pictures of bumblebees on them. Give me 5 bees for a quarter, you'd say. Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. The important thing was that I had an onion on my belt, which was the style at the time. They didn't have white onions because of the war. The only thing you could get was those big yellow ones. There's an interesting story behind this nickel. In 1957, I remember it was, I got up in the morning and made myself a piece of toast. I set the toaster to 3, medium brown. And to my son Homer, woohoo, and his entire family, no, I leave these. A box of mint-condition 1918 Liberty Head silver dollars. You see, back in those days, rich men would ride around in Zeppelins dropping coins on people. And one day, I seen J.D. Rockefeller flying by. So I run out of the house with a big wash tub and... Where you going? Dad, we'd love to stay here and listen to your amusing anecdotes, but we have to take these coins to the mall and spend them. Anyway, about my wash tub. I just used it that morning to wash my turkey, which in those days was known as a walking bird. We'd always have walking bird on Thanksgiving with all the trimmings. Cranberries, Injun eyes, and yam stuffed with gunpowder. Then we'd all watch football, which in those days was called baseball.
Simpson.
Hot diggity! I don't care if it's bad news!
Oh, Grandpa, you're not busy, are you?
Well, you're really asking 2 questions there. The first one takes me back to 1934. Admiral Byrd had just reached the pole, only hours ahead of the 3 Stooges. And I guess he won the argument, but I walked away with the turnips. The following morning, I resigned my commission in the Coast Guard. The next thing I heard, there was civil war in Spain. And that's everything that happened in my life right up to the time I got this phone call.
So, anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I'm afraid I'd just be repeating myself, honey. Anyway, other people need to use the phone.
I've already talked to her for 20 damn minutes.
Look at that hunk of junk.
Oh, you're ignorant. That's the Wright brothers' plane. At Kitty Hawk in 1903, Charles Lindbergh flew it 15 miles on a thimble full of corn oil. Single-handedly won us the Civil War, it did.
So how do you know so much about American history?
I pieced it together mostly from sugar packets. Now, my story begins in 19-tickety-2. We had to say tickety, 'cause the Kaiser had stolen our Ware 20. I chased that rascal to get it back, but gave up after tickety 6 miles.